All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to the VAdio show, The People Show. And today we're going to be talking about a subject that's on a lot of people's mind. All over the nation, we've been dealing with situations with police shootings and different things when it comes to community, the public, and police. They've been at odds. So I wanted to sit down with an officer and have a conversation. And I have one here, the perfect one, I feel, Mr. Will Gervin.
What's
How are
up,
you?
Man? Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you for being here,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
It's a lot of questions that people want answers for, questions that people are making up answers for. So I want to have you here to kind of clear some things up, see if we can make things a little bit better on your side, and of course, better for our community.
Definitely.
So first things first, I want people to know who they're dealing with. Let them know, what you do, your track record, just give them the resume.
Okay. Will Gervin. I'm actually a sergeant with the Virginia Beach Police Department. Been there 14 years. I'm from the Peninsula, grew up downtown Newport News. I went to Norfolk State University. I chose Virginia Beach because I actually wanted to go federal. I was in college, I wanted to go federal. The process took about 2 years, so I'm very practical. So let me go ahead and get a job.
Gotcha.
And, my uncle was a police officer in Newport News, so there was a little bit of influence there to kind of go into that career path. And 14 years now, and I'm over the recruiting and selection unit. So I handle all the background investigations on the applicants, recruiting initiatives, and trying to get people interested in the career.
Did you serve any time on the beat?
Yeah, I worked the street my first 3.5 years.
Okay.
And then I went to training as an instructor, and then I went back to the street for another 2 or 3 years, and then I got promoted.
So you pretty much know the game all the way around.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Now, my next question would be, what made you want to be a police officer? Was it just your uncle, or was it other things that came into play?
I always had a draw towards like criminal justice, law. When I was coming up in high school, that was kind of like where I wanted to go. My initial hope, like I said, I wanted to go federal because that's what everybody wanted to do.
Right.
Without really knowing the details of it. But my uncle was a very positive influence in my life. I didn't grow up with a father. My mom's youngest brother, he was very influential to me. He spent a lot of time with me. So I saw him in uniform as a young child. So I think subconsciously I kind of picked up on that, looking up to him. And it just kind of, I say it called me.
Yeah.
And I found myself in that career. And I even thought in my first 2 years, I'll be here 2 to 3 years, and I'm gonna leave and go federal.
It's 14 now.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah. Hey, this is where you need it, honestly, because of the fact of how you looked at your uncle. I think a lot of things when it comes to the neighborhoods I come from, just like teachers, if I see a teacher that looks like me, I feel a little bit more of a connection. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think in our neighborhoods, it's good to see a African-American man out there that stands for something positive. He's familiar with people from that neighborhood. That makes it a little bit easier to deal with each other.
Most definitely.
I was in the military, and a lot of people could probably vouch to this. In the military, you get a lot of guys, like looking at it from the outside, I'm thinking, tough guys, military guys, you got your fatigues on, you're doing push-ups, I'm thinking that, right?
Yeah.
You get in, and then you realize, not saying there's no tough guys there, don't get it twisted, but you find out there's, mixed in with these tough guys, it's a lot of dudes that seemed as if they was maybe teased in school. They wanted to find a position of power.
Yes.
To feel like, I'm in control of somebody. Do you feel like that happens in the police department?
Almost definitely. We get all types, and what we do is we trust in the selection process to screen out those people that shouldn't be there. Whether they're over aggressive or whether they're too passive. Because we have what's called a profile we want for a police officer, and when I speak of that, I'm talking specifically from the psychological standpoint. They want you in a certain range. They don't want you super aggressive, but they don't want you too passive because that bravery and that adrenaline junkie, we want a little bit of that risk taker, because it takes a special person to go out there and do that job and possibly put your life on the line. So, but yeah, we see that, and we hope and we trust in our process to weed those people out.
But you're not psychic.
Yeah, exactly. And people change and they morph. You may start off your career one way, and based on the culture or influences or people you're hanging around, you kind of get an idea of, well, this is who I'm going to become. You know, and a lot of people, they may put on a different facade when they put that badge on, and that's a problem.
That is a huge problem. You know what? I'm just going to jump right on into it because I know everybody watching the TV like, go ahead and ask them about all the police and stuff. What do you feel is going on with this seems like a spike in unarmed black shootings. What do you think is happening? Is it a training issue? Is it an aggression issue? Is it a race issue? What do you think is going on?
There's a lot. I think it's a very nuanced problem. I think number one, that there's more exposure because of everybody has a cell phone. So the question is it new or has it been going on and we just haven't been capturing it? There is a huge, from what I perceive, lack of training in a lot of these smaller departments. You take a city like, not to pick on any city, but a small county that has a small budget. You know, we're very fortunate in Virginia Beach. We got a pretty decent budget, and you know, we have a lot of that money go towards training. Little small town Podunk Police Department where they have 10 officers. Where literally their academy is, they're blessed in and given a gun and go on the street, and they're forced to make these life-changing decisions, that affect other people's life. And so training is an issue. They don't know how to react. They don't know how to de-escalate a situation. They don't know how to deal with people outside of their norm, people that don't look like them. That's an issue. So, we got
a lot of people won't admit that, and I don't mean to cut you off, but a lot of them will not admit that that's their issue.
Right.
But I honestly think that that's the case.
Yeah, and it's influenced by a lot of things. We have that implicit bias that we look at people and we make snap judgments about them. If we've never grown up around a certain type of people, we may base our opinion of them on TV. We've seen on TV. And what we've heard. And so if that's in my mind, I've never had experience with, Filipinos or blacks or, lesbians, gays, whoever. I'm making my decisions based off what I've heard. Right. And that's a problem.
That is a problem because this is a whole nother show, but the way that blacks are portrayed in media and television will lead people to believe that we all are savage and we may cut your throat and steal your purse. You know what I mean? But there's black men like you, there's black men like me, and our whole team, and many people I know. So, media does play a part, and we'll dig deeper into that. But I'm gonna ask one more question, then we'll go to a break.
Okay.
What is the protocol for if you pulled a man over and you suspected that he had a gun? Or things got to the point to where you felt like you needed to stop him in some form or fashion? What's the protocol?
There's different protocols for different police departments. Everybody trains different, and I think that's a problem too. We may see one police department do something, and they go, man, that's really wrong, and the other 90 are not doing that. But usually if you stop somebody, let's say, usually somebody has a weapon in the car, and you're by yourself, my take on that is you want to keep them where they are. You want to isolate them because they're in a car. That's fine. I don't want to take them out because now there's more room, there's more exposure, there's more area. He can run, he can fight. So, I like to tell them, hey, I recognize you have a weapon in the car. Is it legal? Ask them some questions about it because communication is first. If I can understand, number one, is it a legal gun? Is it illegal?
Because you are able to own a gun.
A gun is not illegal. You have the right to carry that. So if he has the right to carry it and he's not presenting that in a way that is a threat to me, we're going to be good. But that's where it starts, communicating. If I feel like we're in a position where, he's nervous or he's now going to use that in a threatening manner, vocalizing what I see. Hey, you did this or you did that, you moved this way. I'm taking that as, now listening to me. Understand what I'm saying. If you do that again, I'm going to take that as. Now, he understands, okay, I'm making him feel nervous.
Gotcha.
He understands that if I do this again, this is putting him on the defensive.
So now from here, it's on you if you...
Right. Gotcha. But I got to give him those options and put some, clarity on what his movements mean to me.
I got you.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't just react and do something. He's like, well, what are you doing? I got to give him some, hey, this is the way I'm feeling because of how you're acting.
Okay. So. And I know I said one more question, but I got to ask this because it's connected to that. Is lethal force the only means? Because I heard some people, and I'm kind of giving you questions that some people sent us. They said that there's beanbag guns, there's tasers. Is there other ways to handle this, or are they trained to, if you feel threatened, kill?
Right. Two-part answer, kind of. A lot of departments use what they call a use of force continuum. We used to use the use of force continuum where a person's actions dictate your reaction. So if we're having a conversation and I ask you to move over here and you refuse, then there's certain things I can do. I can grab your arm, I can escort you. I don't get to tase you or spray you with OC. So as the level of force or the level of resistance goes up, the level of force that I use goes up. there's also a case, and I encourage anybody to be familiar with this case law because it dictates police use of force. Graham versus Connor.
Okay.
It pretty much states that an officer's actions have to be reasonably objective or objectively reasonable. So a person of officer of a reasonable mindset, if they saw you doing what you did, would that be acceptable? You know, so a fair-minded officer in that same position, would they do the same thing? And that's how we judge, you know, whether or not that use of force is going to be good. So is lethal force always necessary? Lethal force should be reserved by our policy for any action that would lead to my death or serious bodily injury, you know, incapacitation where I'm, you know, in fear of losing my life. Just because somebody jumps at me or somebody, you know, verbalizes it, you know, I'm gonna come over there and I'm gonna do this. That's not lethal force. So that's reserved for truly when my life, I feel like my life is in danger. The problem that we've seen recently is a lot of people are using that subjective terminology. I felt like my life was in danger. Really, what does that mean? And you know, it has to come to a point, honestly, where the officer has to have it within himself to know that if I'm this scared on a daily basis, and I'm scared to, you know, deal with a community or deal with certain people, then maybe I need to reconsider that.
Maybe I need another occupation.
Right.
Okay. We're going to get back because I also want to give some advice to people from our community on how to deal with officers and you know, how to conduct themselves, all right?
Definitely.
This is the VAdio show. Don't leave that couch. We're coming right back. In life, we're faced with many obstacles. Many people in cities across our nation are up against problems that seem utterly impossible to get over. Fighting and pointing fingers has gotten us nowhere, but together, we can find solutions. We can help each other up one issue conquered at a time, realizing we can't climb the ladder of success with our hands in our pockets, but with work and everyone involved, we will overcome setbacks and reach the mountaintop, out of the dark valleys of our past issues. This isn't a perfect climb and there will be stumbles, but with accountability, there's someone to help pick us up. Progress is made and unity is properly displayed, proven once and for all through our actions that we do much better together. This is our city, so it's only right that we come together to make it better. United, we'll celebrate our successes as a community. So if change is what you're after, then it's time to rise. Above hate, violence, ignorance, and any and everything that's in the way of progress. This is our mission. This is our movement. The VAdio show is back. The VAdio show is brought to you by All About You Residential Care.
Someone once said, getting there is half the fun. From downtown to Old Town. Go past 365. Connects you to entertainment, restaurants, friends. Go Past 365. Find out more at gopast365.com.
And we are back to the People Show, and I'm still here with Mr. Will Gervin. Now, I know I said that I was going to get into, you know, how to help the community, but this is helpful to the community, and this is a question that a lot of people have, so I'm going to get this out of the way right now. There's a lot of division in our country, okay? And there's also, it's almost like some gangs that popped up in a sense, all right? Because if you say all lives matter in front of the wrong black person, you got yourself a problem. And I can understand, you know what I mean? All lives can't matter if all these black people dying, okay? So all lives matter versus Black Lives Matter versus Blue Lives Matter. What's your take on it?
So Black Lives Matter came out as a response to a perceived problem, you know, the number of unarmed black males that were being killed. And I actually met and heard one of the founders, Lisa Garza, talk about it. She was at ODU last year. And so, she got to explain her heart and her mission. And it was a response to what she was seeing. So Black Lives Matter, and one of the things I've heard the best sums it up is they weren't saying only Black Lives Matter too.
Right.
Right. So let's include them in this conversation. There's some issues going on within our community. Let's bring this to light. So the response, of all lives matter and blue lives matter. The blue lives matter almost made it sound like a war, between cops and the community, which it should never be. And when you say that, it's kind of taking the energy and the power away from the original purpose,
right.
And to give another analogy, it's like if I were in the hospital and I was, sick, and let's say I had lung cancer, and so my ward is strictly for lung cancer patients, and somebody ran down the hallway and was like, breast cancer matters too. It's kind of like, yeah, we know, we understand that, but this is what's affected me,
right.
And that's how I look at it. Black Lives Matter is not trying to take the sincerity or the importance of anybody else's life away. It's just saying, hey, let us get a seat at the table too. Look at what's going on in our community, and look at the things that are happening, and let's address it. And so I think that it was a little insensitive when you have people that would immediately come back with, all lives matter or blue lives matter.
Right.
It's not supposed to be a war, of one-on-one.
No.
We know all lives matter, but right now we're dealing with this.
Do you think that the police department, I guess you can't speak for all police departments, but say Virginia Beach, where you work at, do you feel as if they get that, they understand that?
I think a large percentage do. I think we're a little bit above the cusp because of our training. We do so much diversity training, cultural diversity. Right now we're teaching.
This is a melting pot around here.
Yeah, the big military area. We got a class going on right now called Fair and Impartial Policing. I'm one of the instructors and one of the coordinators of it, where we are teaching officers about implicit bias, about the way you behave and the way you react is because of some of the implicit bias. So you have to recognize that. You have to recognize that when you see a person, there's some snap judgments going on, and why. And then to deal with those so that it doesn't affect your policing style. And then you find yourself bias-based, policing. You're pulling people over because of, what you think they may have in the car, something like that. So one of the things that we're known for in Virginia Beach is our training. So we try to keep our officers ahead of that. We try to stay ahead of the curve, be proactive on it.
Okay. Is there a blue wall of silence? Like if you know you got a dirty cop in there, is there an unwritten rule, or is it written that keep your mouth shut and protect each other?
Oh, that's definitely real. I mean, you can look at Chicago. I mean, just one instance, not to put them out there, but the Laquan McDonald case. We're just hearing about that, earlier this year, and that happened how long ago? And then, all these stories about the cops telling, the citizens to change their story, or the witnesses, and the things that they are going through to keep that story down, and to kind of coordinate everybody's story. That's sad.
How do we stop that? Because I mean, if that continues, that means you above the law. You can do what you want to do, and understanding that, and that's how everybody feels. You know what I mean? So we feel like you can do what you want to do to us. Nothing gonna happen to you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So we got people dead. We get locked up because we're gonna talk about a brother who got locked up for 20 some odd years and. He didn't commit the crime, but no police officer, I made a mistake, on to the next case. Right. How do we stop this problem?
Once again, it's multifaceted. I think the most important piece of that is to push our legislators, senators, local congressmen, when they come out to your homes and in your community and they say, hey, vote for me, you need to push that agenda on them. What are you gonna do about, this issue or that, the things that are important to your community? But I think legislation has to change. Also training and education, accountability. Bottom line is people have to be held responsible for what they do. That's the basis of everything.
If you know you're gonna get fired or you may go to jail as a police officer, you're gonna think twice before you pull that trigger. Right. But if you don't feel like nothing's gonna happen to you, hey, clean this up, let's get back to work.
Right, So accountability, education, new policies and laws, to where, those cops who wanna go rogue and do that stuff, that they're held accountable. That it's not, and cultural change is going to have to take place also. So with this new generation, it starts, like I said, in the training academy, pushing these cultural diversity classes, pushing these ethics classes, pushing the the basics of humanity, to look at somebody who's different from you. You may listen to different music, you may grew up with different experience, financial, social, but yet they're still a person. My chief said something beautiful a long time ago. It's hard to hate up close, so we have to get out of our cars. We have to get involved and engage with the community. One-on-one. If I know your name and you have a business in my district and I stop by every day for coffee or we talk, when I see you on the street and maybe another officer has you pulled over and I see that, I'm like, oh, that's Trevor. He's good. He's good. That's how it happens in every community. We vouch for each other. Oh, he's good. He's good. So the police community needs to do that with the communities they police to. Understand who they are. Understand who the big mamas are on the block. Understand. Pops. On the corner. Corner store. We need to know these people by name. And know their situation. Know their children. And that's the only way it's gonna get better.
Man, you're a good cop, man.
Trying to spread it. It's
a good police officer, man. Y'all watch out for this guy. You're a black cop. Does that cause you problems? Because you're still a black man.
At the end of the day, this is who I am. This is who I was born. So I have to recognize that there's issues that affect people that look like me, and be honest about that and deal with it. And so sometimes it is being hard. It is hard because I get it. From both sides. I don't know if you guys just saw, there was a article or a statement rather put out by the NAACP that said, hey, black cops aren't really black, And
NAACP put that out? Sometimes recently. I think they instigate stuff, man. I don't know. Much love to the guys that are around here that I know personally. But sometimes, why would you say that?
And so, we're going home and we have to deal with the fact that we are a black man. And we have to deal with it, and we're cops.
Because a lot of people right now, there's a lot of hate for you guys right now. Okay? Because of the fact that the media doesn't show us you.
Right.
They don't show us that good cop that's being honest about the situation. No. Every time we see it, it's a cop shooting somebody.
We're doing something dirty.
So you're doing something dirty. So now we watch, even when we watch TV shows, different shows, when New York Undercover or whatnot, we watching y'all. So you having that against you when you show up in the neighborhood, and also you having the fact that you're a black man, how does that affect things?
It's rough, because the number one thing we want is support. We want support from our family, we want support from the community. So it's a two-way street. We have to do the things that's going to build that trust. We have to be transparent. But for my community, I need my community to realize that I'm out here and I'm grinding for y'all. I'm doing this because I want people to see me and they go, man, that's a good dude. Now that gives them a light of hope. Man, you know what? Maybe there are some good cops. If he's doing it, he's been doing it for 14 years. He's survived and he's doing it, and he's giving back to his community. And inspire the little ones. Because in order to change what we're going to see in the future, we got to change the little ones' mindset. So we have to let them know that it's okay. I don't like when people tell their kids like, "Oh, don't do that. The cops gonna get you." Because I come with the little kids, I'm trying to shake their hands, give them a hug.
I done seen little black kids when the police show up. They police out here. Man, what you running for? You got crack in your pocket. Go in the house.
They jumping off the tricycle.
But it's been kind of ingrained in us, man.
Yeah.
You having a hard time getting people to recruit now? I'm sure people don't want to be police no more.
It's tough. It's
protect us if y'all gone, man.
Yeah. It's a millennial thing,
need
where
a Spider-Man or something.
Superman, Luke Cage, call Luke Cage somebody, man. It is. It's very hard to recruit because of the generational thing. The generation that's coming into of age to be police officers, it's not a lot of interest. We're not seeing a lot of interest from that generation. Plus the culture, what's going on right now, and nationwide. You look at that, you're like, I don't want to deal with that.
Give me y'all bad rap, man.
Yeah.
But we're gonna come back because I know I probably talked to you way too much on this segment, but we're gonna come back and we're actually going to get into what can we do as the community when it comes to dealing with police. Okay.
Definitely.
All right. This is the VAdio show. Don't leave. I'm sending Mr. Will to come and lock you up. See you after the break. Hey, for more of the VAdio show, log on to thevadioshow.com. And while you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube at The VAdio Show. And we are back with the People Show, The VAdio Show. Now, Mr. Gervin, I'm going to try to get straight to it, okay? People have questions on, I don't want to get shot. I'm not trying to be funny, but people actually are saying this. I don't want to get shot. How do we deal with it when a policeman pulls me over? Because, I had one of my cousins just tell me recently on the way here, she got pulled over, okay? And she said that the cop was extra aggressive. And that happens. Like, you don't have to have attitude, with, especially a person like me, what happened, what did I do? How do we deal with a pullover and not get shot?
Always communicate. As a citizen, as a person who got pulled over, make sure you understand exactly what the officer wants, So I would say, just kind of sit still, hands visible. When he walks up to the car, she walks up to the car, they may go through the little spiel, this is why I pulled you over, I'm officer such and such. Let me have your license and registration. Okay. At that point, it's important to verbalize exactly where you're going, Officer, my license and my registration is in my glove box, or my registration is, or my
don't
license.
Just grab for it.
Yeah, don't start moving and doing, too much, things that could be, because it's all about perception, So I can quell your fears and perception as an officer if I tell you exactly what I'm about to do. My wallet is in my back right pocket. My registration is in my glove box. Or, I'm not sure exactly where it is, so I have to look for it.
Right.
Is that okay with you? Boom, yes or no, or, and just kind of go along with the flow. I think the biggest thing is that if there's anything in the car that may seem to be, hinky or off, or, you got a gun in your car, because like we said earlier, guns are illegal, but it can cause the fears to rise.
Right.
Officer, I have a gun in the car. It's on the passenger seat, or it's on the floorboard, or whatever. What would you like me to do about that? Because now you're getting his or her input. Right. And they're telling you, you're telling them what's up, and you're asking for their input. So now they feel like they're in control. They get to dictate your movement. I think that's one of the biggest things. If it's a high-risk situation where maybe, and this happens a lot, there was a call, let's say, for a robbery or something, a violent felony. And so they get a tag number, or they get just a description of a car, a green Mustang, and you're driving a green Mustang, you pass through this area. That stop is going to go a little different. That's called a high-risk stop. Because now it's not just you ran a stop sign, you got your tags messed up or whatever. It's, I suspect you for a robbery or whatever. So usually it's going to be 2 or more officers, and when they stop you, it's going to be, they're not going to walk up in the car. They're going to be yelling commands from the position of the car over the microphone. Everybody put your hands out the window, da-da-da.
Now that's going to scare the person inside to death.
That is very intimidating. All these lights, this voice. So try to stay calm and try to listen. And like I said, if there's something that you didn't understand or you didn't catch, can you repeat that? I didn't hear you. What's going on? Hey, you told me to put my hands out the window. Everything's cool. Okay, hands out the window. With your left hand, open the car door. And move slow, talk it out. And I always say the goal is to survive the stop. Yeah. It's to survive the stop.
But we shouldn't have to think like that.
It's sad.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I said, my cousin got pulled over. She was saying that she wasn't really. Of course, everybody's kind of upset when they get pulled over because it's like, I'm gonna have to spend some money. What you pull me over for? What is? So she said that the officer came to a window with this aggression. Like I'm the one in power. You're not. Right. Do what I need to. It wasn't like, excuse me, ma'am. May I have a license and registration? Which is I'm stopping for, sir. You were speeding. It wasn't like that. Right. Why do these officers? Is it a bad day? Is it just a power trip? What is that?
It could be they're having a bad day. That could be their, they could be like working a traffic calming where that's their 10th stop for the day. They're frustrated. And that comes from training also. We try to teach officers when they're new, when we're doing traffic stops. You got to remember, even though you're on a traffic post and you're directing traffic, everybody that comes to you is new to that situation. Now that's your 100th car that you had to tell, turn left, because the street is blocked off. That 100th car comes up to you and you're like, turn left now. Can I go right? And you just lose in a snap because you've told the same thing to 99 people. But you have to remember, every person is new. So we teach it in training. We tell officers, look, you don't get to have a bad day. And what we mean by that is, if I was an accountant and I made a mistake, you might lose $200 out of your bank account. We can fix that. I can go back and fix the numbers, or I can put the money back, a banker or whatever. If I'm a cop and I have a bad day and we have a violent altercation, that could be bad. You could lose your life. You could, So we tell them and we have policies in place, even so much as EAP, where a cop may be going through something, whether it's home or work-related stress, depression, substance abuse, alcohol, whatever. To talk with a counselor. I mean, if it's that bad, we have those services in place. We also tell them, hey, if it's just one of those days where you're just like in a mood, stay home. You got to leave. Even if you don't have leave, guess what? You can stay home. I don't feel like being here today. I need a personal day. It's best for you to take that personal day and stay home.
Deal with public.
Than to deal with the people that day. And we're human. Everybody's going to have those days where they're just not feeling it. Or maybe come in and work the desk. Okay. You can work the desk where you are only going to deal with people that are coming in and have questions about paperwork or filing reports or something like that. So that's a little bit less intrusive. You know, you're not going to have that opportunity to go across that line. So, you know, just it comes from just being emotionally intelligent, honestly, just knowing where you are that day, knowing what you're capable of, and knowing that, hey, if I get to this point, I probably need to go home. You know? And as a supervisor, I've had guys come up to me and say that, hey, you know what, I'm just, no questions asked.
Please let them go home.
Yeah,
please.
Sign that slip, see you tomorrow.
As a concerned
whenever.
citizen, I'd like you to let them go home. The VAdio show is brought to you by Quality Hands and Hearts Home Care. Here at the VAdio show, progress is the process. If you feel the same, represent and pre-order your t-shirt at thevadioshow.com or contact us at thevadioshow@gmail.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the People Show, the VAdio show. And this is still Protect and Serve with the question mark on it. And these guys represent the question mark because you didn't get protected or served. You actually told them that you did the crime.
Yes, sir.
And this is, I know as crazy as this may seem, this is the man that got accused, and this is the man that actually committed the crime. And you told them that you did it.
Yes, sir. We had to sit outside the courtroom while his trial was going on. They wouldn't let us in there all the time. So they called my name and asked me questions on it, and I told them I did it and what really happened. We drove by him and I shot. And then,
what did you shoot? Did you shoot at them or
no,
how?
shot in the air,
Okay.
just to scare him. You know, I mean, just riding by, being dumb. You know.
So this is all over shooting in the air.
Yeah.
So nobody got shot.
Nobody got shot.
And you
nobody got
served
hurt.
how much time? Show to put the mic to his mouth. How much time?
22 years, 8 months, and 3 days.
Off of shooting in the air.
Yep.
I know people who committed murders that served less time.
Yeah, me too.
Well, jeez. How did you end up 23? Because how much time were you sentenced for?
48 years.
Hold on. Because I thought the 23 years was the time. They sentenced you to 48 years for you shooting in the air.
Me telling them that I'd done it.
How many times did you speak to someone, or did they kind of dismiss you after you told them the situation?
Well, after the court date, they did. But before then, there was a couple of newspapers with his mom that we did. Somewhere over there in Campbellsdale or something. I talked to some people and some papers and still told my story. And then and that was about it, you know.
So nobody ever really contacted you back, wanted to get more questions?
Yeah, no.
So the situation was they just wanted to keep you in jail for some odd reason?
Yeah.
So
And
did you have
we were trying to find out from people. We never could find out who to go to or what to do. You know,
a lot of confusion going on as to
you know.
one hand don't know what the other one was doing.
Right.
Gotcha.
And they turned a blind eye to it after that, you know. So.
Now, did you have a public defender? Was this a law you paid for?
Nah, public defender.
See, now, do you think that was the issue? I gotta ask that question because a lot of people tell me, you know, and a lot of people tell me that a public defender is a bad move to make.
Yeah, you know
when you're facing a lot of time.
He didn't do what he supposed to do. He told me I was going home. You see what I'm saying? And he wouldn't even because Gino was going to turn himself in. He told him, nah, because he going to go home. That's what he told him on the day of my trial.
So you think if Gino turned himself in, that would have changed the situation maybe?
It might have helped. Because the media had the eyes. I mean, they were trying to get me anyway, man.
Right.
They even told me, the police told me when I turned 18, we going to get you.
Yeah, they had a detective after.
Yep. They told me that.
I'm speaking to an officer named Will Gervin. What is your take when it comes to police in your community? I mean, do you have a trust? They'll keep it real.
Nah, don't trust them.
Don't trust them at all. Why do you feel like you don't trust police officers?
I just gave almost 23 years of my life. I ain't gonna
Before that, did you?
Nah, man, they ain't never been fair to me.
Okay.
Never.
Okay. How about y'all? I mean, you ain't said nothing. How you feel about the policing?
When we went out there in the car, I was in the front seat. So they automatically assumed I was him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when it happened, I didn't know what he was doing. He just seen him shot in the air. That, you know, I felt my seat move up. It was all going in the air. And he shot a fire, you know. But when it happened, I was like, man, yo, that's going to come back on my brother somehow. Because I know, didn't nobody know me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So they kind of attributed you to him.
Car. They seen him out there. They seen his car before, so they automatically assumed that it was my brother. And then, the sad part is you let down by the justice system. Really, because when you in there and you know a person is innocent, and you have someone telling them
that they
I
did it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't just make it up 20-something years later.
Yeah.
He been telling
I didn't do it.
Right. Right. And that was a stand-up guy move to make for real. A
but
lot
that's
of people
what he
wouldn't have
told
done
me.
it.
He said I'd be lying if I,
Yeah.
if I told him that I didn't do it. But to me, the lawyer didn't do his job.
That was 23 years of your life gone. You went at 18. Okay. So was there anything that was given to you? Was there anything to try to make the situation right? Or I was like, what, we just gonna let you out of jail? Good luck. What was it?
No, actually, I made parole. That's how I got out. Like,
So you made parole and got out. So there was really nothing.
nothing at all. Made parole. Went up.
Wow. Brother, I ain't heard nothing from you, man. I didn't know if you was the bodyguard or what's going on. Let me know what's happening.
I'm the driver.
Oh, okay. So you definitely seen it all go down. Okay.
I've seen it all both days, every day for this whole time, and
What's your take on it all, man?
it's ridiculous. I mean, like 22 years, 8 months and 11 days.
3 days.
3 days. I mean, his life's gone. I mean, my daughter doesn't even know him. Everybody's got family. Everybody's moved on with their life.
Yeah.
And he's just coming back. And like he said, I mean, when he got locked up, I mean, we didn't even have cell phones back then.
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
comes out and they've got all this fancy stuff. So, I mean, I know he's happy to be here and he's getting to live the life of a kid again.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, pardons and everything of that nature, I mean, what's that going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, he's out, but he can't
The
drink.
time has-
he can't drink or do
Yeah.
anything. He can't leave the 757 area I mean, we can't go to King's Dominion, none of
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just ridiculous how long they took him from us, and I'm just happy he's home. But, I mean, the whole situation with the way it was all trumped up from the beginning is, I mean, the day that we were riding through the neighborhood and Gino fired the shot in the air, he was with the son of a police officer. All right? And then when everything happened, the son of the police officer the next day gets sent to military school. So can't see him in court. And,
Right. So
you know,
that
you bring that
evidence
up
is
to the
gone.
lawyer, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to do this and that," but they didn't do anything. And I mean, just a simple. I mean, the man was with the police officer's son, and nobody's ever talked about that.
Wow.
Man's 40 years old, ain't even allowed. I'm gonna say we didn't drink back when we were young.
Yeah, don't tell no lies on
I'm
my
not
show.
gonna say
man.
we weren't drinking back then, but I mean, it's been 22 years and he hasn't been allowed to drink anything. I mean,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We could die for our country, but we can't. I mean, it's just too much.
No,
stuff
I
going
trust me, man. When I read about the story, I was dumbfounded. I'm gonna have to go to a break, but before you guys go, I gotta give one main question: is there anything that our judicial system or the police can do to gain your trust back ever again? What would that look like for you?
on. One day, I'm driving down the road out Green Run area, Dahlia, right by the high school. I've got a little BMW and I've got my ball cap on, and I get pulled over, and I'm sitting there thinking, "What's going on? What's going on?" The police officer walks to the window. I roll the window down. He looks me dead in the eyes like I'm looking at you right now and says, "I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were white."
Shut up,
Turned
man.
around, got back in his car, and left. And
Wow.
ever since that day, I mean, that pretty much changed my life.
Wow.
And so, but what can they do to change that?
Yeah.
Change that. I mean, what the hell? I mean,
Yeah.
What can you do to change that? How
Yeah.
can you change? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't realize you were white. I didn't realize I was white until he pulled me over, though.
Wow.
You know, he let me know.
You ain't putting the mic.
Oh.
Let them have
I
it, man.
don't know.
Let them have it, man.
What can they do to change it?
Nah, nothing, man.
Nothing?
My opinion, nothing.
Okay.
I don't really know what to say. I'm just like say I'm glad he's home. I mean, them people are just, I don't know what's wrong with them, tell you the truth, you know.
I can
They
dig
need
it.
to listen to somebody that's telling the truth. You know, it makes me so upset.
Yeah.
Just so upset they just don't believe me. They
Yeah.
don't believe me or they don't want to believe me. I don't know what it is.
I hear you, man. You trust ever again, trust.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with that question.
That's what I need you to do, man.
and tell you that I trust some of them.
Okay.
I know some of them. You know what I'm saying? They people just like we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you got bad seeds and everything, man. You got
I agree
good
with
seeds,
you.
got bad seeds. The process, whatever process they use to get the good seeds, that's the process
They need to keep that moving.
That's it. You know
Keep
what I'm
doing
saying?
that.
Because the people, they're scared at the end of the day. Everybody want to go home. You know what I'm saying? Cops got families, they got kids.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they want to go home, so they overreact to make sure they get home. But stop overreacting on one kind of people.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I can dig it, Stop overreacting over something simple. You know, if you could take this man that commit mass killing people in churches and you can take him
to Burger King on the way to
Burger King and stuff. I'm sure you can leave me alone about running a red light. You know what I'm saying? So,
I can't argue with it, bro.
But yeah, man.
This was protect and serve. I don't think they got served properly, but we're gonna talk to Will Gervin after the break, see if he can explain a little bit.
Yeah, just want to thank you, bro.
No problem.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
The funny thing about decisions is with everyone made, a seed is planted. Some take longer than others, but we always reap what we sow. Our past history is filled with seeds of hate, abuse, death, and injustice, which has grown into a dark forest of chaos. Many have a hard time seeing how we got here, but if we look back far enough, then it becomes clear.
Hey, good show today, man. Appreciate it, bro. You know I do what I can, man. Teamwork make the dream work. Yes, sir. Did I kill the show that bad, man? Must have, man. Got the folks out here.
You know what's funny though, man? I know I'm supposed to feel safe when they show up, but lately, yeah, man, it always make me feel nervous.
All right, I got a message incoming.
Hip hop, some drug activity going on in the area. Let me know when you get it.
All right, I got it.
All right, round one.
License registration.
All right, sir. Can I just ask you why I got pulled over?
License and registration.
I'm running late for work, officer. I'm just
License and registration. In fact, get out of the car.
You know, officer.
Get out of the car.
Sir, I don't mind. I feel
Step out of the car now. Stop!
Fired! At 321, we have shots fired. We have one suspect down. We need him to here.
This is wrong. This is wrong. They shot him! He's unarmed!
Now it seems the people here to protect and serve receive no punishment when our people are killed, which sends a message that there is a lack of value for our lives, which makes us feel obligated to let it be known that Black lives indeed matter. Every life matters is true, but when Black lives are being taken at alarming rates, we must focus our concerns on the issues at hand. Respect goes both ways, and all police aren't killers, as all Black people aren't criminals. The difference between the good and bad all comes down to a choice. Righteous or wicked, the results affect us all. And as much as we love to turn back the hands of time, some choices can never be undone. But let's try this again and see how the story truly ends.
Could I see your license and registration, sir?
Yes. Can I ask you why I was being put over?
I'm just doing my job. Just trying to keep the neighborhood safe. Could I see your license, registration? Thank you. Here's your license and registration. Thought you're somebody else. Have a nice day.
Hey, Ethan. Ethan, I saw that. Was that nice? It was not nice. Did we do that to our friends? Can you pick up the books and give them back to Bella? Tell her you're sorry, okay? We're not gonna do that anymore, are we? All right.
Bella, come here.
Let's go. I'm walking to the bus.
That's my favorite teacher in the whole world.
Hey, for more of the VAdio show, log on to thevadioshow.com. And while you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube at The VAdio Show.
You done for
now,
today.
I'm going to ask you this last question because on the last segment we spoke to a group of guys where one of them served over 20 years for a crime that he did not commit. They just recently let him go. The guy that committed the crime, he was on too. So he told him over and over that he did it, but the guy still spent that time. I mean, what's your take on that situation from a professional standpoint? Because I know you read about the case.
Yeah, I read about the case. Now, that's sad. Anytime anybody does any time behind bars that for a crime they didn't commit, and it's happening, we're seeing it more and more, where DNA is absolving people from, these crimes. We've got to press, and this is, once again, we've got to press our senators, our congressmen, these people that are asking for your support, asking for your vote. That's the time to put them on the spot. Say, what's your take on this? What are you going to do when you get to Capitol Hill, when you get to D.C., when you get to Richmond? Are you going to be one of those congressmen that's just in there sleeping, hanging out, signing bills and not paying attention? Or you really, we have to hold them. We have to hold them accountable because the legislators are really where the change happens in mass. I mean, in big macro areas because they're the ones that write the laws.
Yeah.
They're the ones
so we're not talking, because presidents are good to go out. You need to go out and vote for presidents, but the one that directly affects you is your local and your state.
Yeah, and your judges. These judges, they have to go up for re-election also. They run or they're appointed. So it comes down to the judicial system. We have to hold them accountable also. The sentencing differences or truth in sentencing, all these things, you have to ask questions. So the community has to get together and hold these politicians, these judges responsible because a lot of this heat that's coming on the law enforcement is really on the part of the judicial system and the law and the legislators, the lawmakers.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've taken up more of your time than we should have. I'm sure you got some traffic stops to do. Oh, you don't do that no more.
I don't do that no more. I'm in the office, man. 72 degrees.
Yes, sir. That's nice. Well, I just want one last thing before you go.
Okay.
Give some advice to the community that may have to deal with, the police. Because, of course, as much issues as they show us on television, we need the police.
Yeah.
We do, and also advice to a cop who may not be on the up and up.
As a community, get to know your police department. Where you live, there's a presiding precinct, whatever. You should know what precinct you live in. You should know the captain of that precinct. You should know the officers that patrol your neighborhood. They should know your kids. It should be truly a community policing relationship where you know, we kind of joke about it back in the day, officer friendly, you know, drives to the neighborhood, waves at the kids. That's how it should be. When you have civic league meetings and you hear that the local police department is going to be at your civic league meeting, show up. Man, I can't tell you how many civic league meetings I've been to, and it's been 5 people. Yeah, and I'm like, you know, I'm like, what's going on? You know, so you have to really get to know, get involved. A lot of police departments, especially in Virginia Beach, we have groups and things for the citizens to get involved in. We have a Citizens Police Academy. We have, you know, things that we ask for input on, you know, from the community, because we're trying to build these relationships. The 4th Precinct, Kempsville area, Virginia Beach, just had coffee with a cop. I believe it was yesterday. Nice. Where they asked the community to come out, sit down with a couple of cops, just have coffee and talk. Let's talk about the same thing we're doing. You know, let's talk about these issues. What's important to you? How do you feel your community is being policed? That's good. You know, when the community starts doing that and taking a vested interest in who's policing their neighborhood and getting to know them and making sure that the police officers know them, I think that's when it happens. That's when the magic happens.
Sounds good. And if you run into any information that we need to pass to the community about these events that are going on, please let us know. Do you got anything for the cop that's not on the up and up?
You need to get it right. You need to get it right. I mean, it's obvious in these days and time, people are being held accountable finally, which is good. So I would say whatever the issue is, you know, there's always a driver. There's always a root. Whatever that root is, if it's, you know, fear, if it's some personal problems at home, substance abuse, whatever, you need to get that taken care of, you know, and if that can be resolved through training, through counseling, through sitting down and talking with your boss, whatever it is, you know, that needs to be worked out. Or honestly, they need to go find another career.
Yeah, or a pink slip.
Yeah, pink slip. It's time to go.
Time to go.
It's time to go.
Well, brother, I thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
And my community thanks you, okay?
Yes. Thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
Anytime, brother. Thank you. This is the VAdio show. This is the People Show, and I sure hope y'all learned something about protecting and serving, and that's what this man does. All right, we'll see y'all on the next episode.
Just want to say, I mean, we're here this morning. I mean, Ferguson, Baltimore, things that have occurred in other cities have been a real wake-up call for people who are in our public service and people who are not only law enforcement, but you know, people who work with local government, statewide government. I mean, it's a wake-up call. We understand, or we are beginning to understand the depth of the issue.
It's just not about race. It's just about how the police treat people, period. And I wanted to stop at Norfolk. I used to love the police. I used to feel comfortable when I see the police. If something happened at my house right now, I'm not gonna call the police because I'm afraid that if the police come up there, I'm gonna be dead.
Denied entry into the hospital. I was shot 5 times, all in my chest and in my neck.
Did they explain why he was denied?
They never gave me a reason why, you know, so my question is, why are constitutional rights disregarded, you know, for people that's actually, because I'm not a felon, you know, and my rights shouldn't be disregarded.
I think that we missing the bigger problem. I just keep hearing police brutality way. The neighborhood I live in, we fight each other every day. We shoot each other every day.
Go ahead.
We need to start with each other. How can we tell them?
That's right.
We monitor crime through CompStat. CompStat is our crime management tool, and it tells us where crime is happening in the city. Unfortunately, most of the crime are occurring in those economically challenged neighborhoods. If I was to take our CompStat map, and the map is highlighted in the areas that are most intensified with crime. If I was to take that map and overlay it with the areas in the city that are economically challenged, they would match up perfectly.
So as a consequence, if we're not being educated, then if there's no fathers in the homes, but we have issues with authority, if there's no real job opportunity, we have no money. So if you give a bunch of people, whether they're black, white, green, yellow, blue, or whatever, you put a whole bunch of people in one place and give them just enough to keep going, they're going to eventually kill each other and then kill who they start seeing.
A 7 o'clock finance committee meeting in the morning to divvy up the state's budget. This budget cycle that we're in started 2014, 2016 budget, $19 billion. and I'm sitting on the Public Safety Subcommittee. You know how many African Americans I see in the audience? Who wants to guess?
I can imagine.
None.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
At the same time, we have marches in Richmond, and Black Lives Matter. They're blocking the intersection to 95. State police and everybody is, is trying to make sure that traffic is moving free and et cetera. I need you in the subcommittee meeting to talk about the issues so that the funding, it's all about funding, people.
Let the officer do his job, do as he or she says. Make a complaint. Make a complaint through the Office of Professional Standards. I was in that office for 6 years. And that's an investigative body in which we investigate the behavior of police officers. I can tell you I've fired many police officers for unprofessional behavior. We do discipline our officers.
Because when an officer is disciplined, they use, that information is not subject to FOIA requests, Freedom of Information Act requests. That information is private under personnel. And they're able to hold that back, and that needs to change because if the community is made more aware, in my opinion, and from the work with the community, of what happens in the disciplinary process with officers, then I believe that it would help to make the community more understanding of the process.
Over 500,000 citizen contacts a year, okay? We've had, to date, this year so far, or last year, we had 300 plus citizen complaints. That's a very small number when you consider we had 250,000 citizen encounters and just 300 complaints.
I think that there's a misinterpretation of that. If you have 300 and some complaints and it's 250,000 encounters, I wouldn't assume that's because y'all are doing such a great job. I would assume that it's because the community doesn't trust you enough to complain. So I think that's a part of the systemic issue that we need to make sure that we keep clear, that there is such a distrust that we don't even want to communicate.
So I think we need to do more, and not depending on what the government can do, because the government is not going to do it. Hadn't done it in the past, it's not going to do it in the future.
You're correct.
We're the leaders we're looking for. It's not the government.
I totally agree.